Talking about doctors, I've got an update on my side of things.
Go on then.
So I had my fertility test, my sperm test, as you saw a couple of weeks ago. I had the results back a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't brought it up yet because we haven't filmed for 2 weeks. And as expected, I am officially infertile. I have zeros. They couldn't find one sperm, not one,
Really?
not one. There was nothing. It was just semen. I expected it. I knew this was going to happen. So I told Sam, and she laughed because we both expected it.
You were well prepared.
I knew it was going to happen. And this was just confirmation so that I can start the next process. Now, the next process is a load of drugs, a load of hormones to kick them up and get them working again. So I started that in a week's time, actually. So I'm not looking forward to that because that causes weight gain and changes in behaviour and all that sort of thing. But essentially, I've got to take HCG, Novadex, Clomid, and something else I can't quite remember now. And these are the fertility things to kick a man's testicles up and running. So I start that at the end of this month. We'll be documenting the journey, guys. If you start seeing me act particularly more mental than usual, it's probably because of that.
I'm looking forward to it, Dan.
Even if it's not, I'm going to use it as an excuse.
Mate, he's just going to be walking around with like his pants on his head and stuff. It's just like, oh my God.
There's this. It's quite interesting, right? Because I've done some research on it, and there was a court case where a guy was on trial for manslaughter because he accidentally killed his partner, but he was going through fertility treatment, and they concluded that could cause such a change in behaviour that he got off with it. He ended up doing a couple of years in a medical...
I'm staying in Wales.
So now I've got 2 get out of jail free cards.
Oh, not now you've told him.
I make a joke out of this, and I've said, cringily, I've said this a couple of times, that I've got a get out of jail free card because I'm bipolar, and now the fertility thing, and it's a joke. Of course, I don't mean it. Of course, yeah. But I remember Sam and I were watching those Netflix serial killer thingies. There was a guy on there, and they were interviewing his friends, and his friends kept on saying he was always going on about how he got a get out of jail free card because of his mental health. And I was thinking,
that's you.
Oh fuck. Sam looked at me, she was like, you've said that at least 10 times since I've known you.
And the rest.
Yeah, I'm actually
Fucking
could be a serial killer. Did you hear about the guy, the psychology teacher, I think, in America, who was researching psychopaths? Now, apparently, the number's gone up. It used to be 1 in 100 people are psychopaths. Yeah. It's now between 2 and 3 out of 100, right?
Is that since COVID?
Probably.
That's what they injected us with.
And he tested all his students to see if anyone was in there, and it was all anonymous, and no names were attached to it. You fill with this form. He did it as well. The results came back, and there were 2 psychopaths in the class. One of the other psychopath had left for whatever reason, moved house or whatever.
And he was the other, was he?
And he was the other psychopath. And so when he was filling out these things and he went through the data, and obviously he knew which one was his, he checked the results and it came back with like 98% psychopathic.
Wow.
So he went home and told his wife and kids about it, and they were like, oh my God, this makes sense, because some of his behaviour, like they'd be eating dinner and he would just not talk. Like his kids had to keep asking him questions and he would give one-word answers. Just wasn't emotionally engaged anyway. Never presented any violence, never presented any actual physical threat, but he had the mindset of a psychopath. Now, what must that do to you if you find out you're a psychopath by definition?
It gives you the excuse to be a psychopath.
Well, yes, it does. But
I'd
be panicking. I'd think I'd probably leave all my friends and family. I think I would. The next day, if I found that out, I think I'd just disappear.
Really?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
You're a psychopath.
I know, but you wouldn't sit down and put things in place and like go. Listen,
what can you put in place? You're a psychopath.
I don't know, but you
guys. For those that don't know, a psychopath is someone who has no empathy. Yeah. 0. And so the consequence of 0 empathy means 0 thought to anyone else's thoughts or feelings based on your actions. You can quite happily go and kill someone and have no remorse, no guilt, no grief, no nothing.
Oh yeah, you would. Yeah.
So like, and just the concept of 0 empathy, as somebody who has loads of empathy, I can't quite connect to that. But the idea, let's say for example, you were a psychopath, like I would have to reevaluate the friendship.
Of course you would.
Because any day now you could be waking up over my head with a knife, or you know what I mean?
It'd be a hammer, mate. Thought about it.
It really got me thinking.
Yeah, that's insane.
It is quite insane. It is insane.
So out of 100 people that we know,
Yeah, two or three in 10. Let's say 2 in 10. 2 in 10 are psychopaths. 1 in 50. Wow. Now go back to the 80-20 cunts. Right? I used to run a business called the 80-20 Lifestyle Plan in the fitness industry. It was very successful. I closed it down last year.
Yeah. Almost.
No, year before. 2021.
No, it was last year.
April. No, October 2021. I closed the doors and then we finished up in February. Didn't we, or March? Something? Anyway, we had 4,000 members at one point.
We had 4,000 loonies.
Well, they were.
There was a few.
And out of those 4,000 people, 20 or 30 of them turned out to be very difficult to deal with, very problematic, very emotionally charged, and it was a fucking nightmare. But now that I know this information, the numbers stack up.
We could have dealt with it really differently.
4,000 people, that's at least 40 psychopaths.
Well, we know there's at least...
That's my excuse anyway, it was never me.
It's not me. We know there's at least 250 of them anyway.
Crazy, really interesting.
Well, you had, 2,500 at one point? So there's at least 250 people.
Yeah, we had 4,000 in 1 year, but the biggest, the active ones were 2,500 or something.
Yeah, they were. And so 250 of those were...
No, 25. Your maths is appalling.
Listen, I'm saying 250 because I've seen fucking Tattle. It's nothing to do with my fucking maths, mate. There's a forum out there, guys, called Tattle. Go and look it up. It's hilarious. If you want a real fun, it's not hilarious.
Type in my name into Tattle. Right, I'm a fucking star on there. And they go on and on and on. And Rolly sometimes checks it for me because I don't look at that shit.
No, I
haven't done for a long time. And there was a lady on there. I won't say her name, Claire, and Claire B. And Claire was on there going, because we moved to YouTube now, and now we get paid for the podcast. Obviously, it's growing, but we do, and we get paid for the views. Yeah. Right. So if you watch any of our stuff, that contributes a small percentage
towards what we make. Yeah.
Absolutely. And she was on there going, because a few times I've said in the past when we were transitioning, I said, like, now we get paid for all the hate. It's not a drama.
It's not a drama.
It's no longer a problem. And she said, there's no way anyone's going to pay me to watch his stuff. I've watched all his videos and they're all rubbish.
Well done, Claire.
Thanks,
Can you
Claire.
just see what you said? Are you
Thanks, Claire.
one of the 2 in 100, Claire?
Stupid psychopaths.
Well, anyway, it's quite funny, isn't it? And even when we look at the analytics, it shows that a lot of our
20% come from Tattle.
20% of our viewers come from Tattle. So we love you guys.
You fucking cunts.
But I ain't coming over to look at your shit because your shit.
Now, is it that one? I have a complaint to make.
Shot, bring what you got. We're going all the way to the top. We will hear the sound of 1 million people screaming our names when we're backstage. We'll play loud, surfing the